Good morning, it's our last day today in Kyoto. Lots of travelling today, we've got to get back to Tokyo and then on the plane.
Trains.
So many trains. Shinkansen, train, flight,
plane,
Cairns, another flight, drive home.
and then car. So trains, planes, and
Automobiles. Chaos. So, before we go, I thought I'd show you our place in Kyoto. I still have to think about where we are. We've got a little kitchen, got a little lounge. We're quite spoiled at this one. We've got a massage chair, which has been delightful. There's the entranceway here. Upstairs, we'll go up and have a look. The stairs have been a bit deadly, especially at night when you come down. This is very low. You have to avoid not losing your head. So upstairs, I've got a kid's space, a couple of futons there. This is quite interesting, a bit flash. It's a glass floor. And then we've got a separate room just off to the side of the kids with an actual functioning bed, which was great because that futon in Hiroshima just about killed us. So we don't do hard beds very well. Too old. Anyway, so there we go. Yes, so this was a lot flasher. It's been delightful. Been a lot more comfortable for a few days, which has been good. Try not to knock myself out. Right. We've got a washer dryer here. It's very space age. It's been quite helpful. Been actually able to clean the clothes. And shower, small bathroom and toilet. But we're not going in there right now. Alright, so there we go. It's sad now, it's the end of our holiday, but I think we're retired and we're probably ready to go home to our own space. So we're looking forward to that. We just have to brave the ordeal now of an entire day of travel and travel tomorrow. Anyway, we'll do our best. And we're finally back from Japan, and it's good to be home. After 25 hours of planes, trains and automobiles, it just feels so good to be able to get home. We had a Shinkansen from Kyoto to Tokyo, the air train from Tokyo back to Narita again, 8.5 hour flight with Jetstar, which has to rank as one of the most uncomfortable. We definitely can't afford to fly first class or business. Cattle class, they really pack you in there, I can tell you. And there's definitely no sleep to be had. We got back into Cairns at 4:40 in the morning, and we then had to get over to the domestic terminal where we found nothing was open. We couldn't check in our bags. There was nowhere to eat but a lone coffee cart with horrific prices. I have to say, a 500ml Coke, I think, was $1.40 in Japan, $5 at Cairns. You've got to be freaking kidding me. That's ridiculous. So we then had to wait there for 4 hours. We also got, when we finally got through to the check-in lounge after 3 hours, they had a Hungry Jack's and we got refused water. They wouldn't give us the water. The guy snobbily told us to go and get it from the drinking fountain. So I can't say at this point that I was overly impressed with the service when we got back. We then had to fly back to Coolangatta again, and then it was an hour home in the car. So in all up, I think, yeah, it was about 25 hours. We came home, basically just crashed. Karina certainly deserved to lie down after it all. And I took a baby home and picked up the dog. We've had a few other things happen since then, which meant I needed to have a few days off, and I'm going to talk about that in my next vlog. But right now I just really wanted to do a bit of a post-mortem on Japan and give you some travel tips. So one of the things we found absolutely invaluable was Karina had done a ton of planning for us. We had a little book made up, and the book had everything we were doing each day, all planned down with times. We knew roughly how long we could spend there. We had the routes, we had maps, we had everything we could possibly need for it. I cannot stress highly enough how important it is to plan. Just don't turn up and go, we'll see what happens. Some things happen only on certain days, at certain times. They have, for instance, the Kabuki-za. I think it's not shut on. It's not open on like the first Monday of every month or something. But then like the second Tuesday of every month is women's only day or something like that. So they often have funny little special arrangements, and it's really important to know that you're not going to turn up and waste your time and that it's not available. So I cannot stress that highly enough. Also, the travel planning is super important as well. The train stations are really big. I don't know what it's like where you are, but in Brisbane, our trains are pretty sad, really. You go into the train station in Japan and it's so big that if you come out in the wrong place, you can literally come out in the wrong suburb. I mean, there can be 8 different exits, and yeah, we've previously when we've gone, we've popped up on the wrong street and been totally lost. So I cannot stress the planning enough. They do have a lot of people in the train stations just there to help you. There are a lot of guards and inspectors and whatever else. They're very helpful. Mileage may vary on English, but generally you can muddle your way through it. We found the English in Tokyo was pretty good. They're pretty used to foreigners, so that's alright. It got progressively harder for us as we went south. I think Hiroshima was by far the hardest. We did run into some good English speakers around the Peace Monument and the Hiroshima Museum. Certainly out in the regular community, it was a little bit more challenging. I do have to say though, the people are lovely. They're very helpful, so don't be afraid to ask for help. The only time we think they're a little bit reticent is if, and this is particularly with some of the older people, although we met some lovely older people and they love Hannah, they want to talk to Hannah, they seem to dote on little girls, and I guess particularly because she's blonde and she's different as well, we just attracted them everywhere we went. So no problems there, but yes, I think they can be a bit reticent to want to talk to you sometimes if their English isn't good, or they don't have any English as well, and sometimes they'll be a little bit standoffish. But generally the young ones are very good. I think English is taught quite actively now, and they're quite keen to practice usually. You'll often get a lot of hellos, hi's, how are you, things like that. I think they like to practice, and don't be insulted or anything if some of the school kids are say hello to you and then sort of giggle. From what I gather, it can be a bit of an excitement for them to talk to you, so just go with it. It's fun. And be nice to them too, obviously, because they are lovely people. They're very helpful. They've really got service down well. You'll notice when you go to shops and things like that, they're very helpful. It's really something I feel quite strongly about when I get home. Just how bad the service has gotten here, how the service, as we've supposedly transitioned to a service economy, the service has just gone down to nothing. A lot of people here they don't want to help you, they're not interested in being helpful or doing their job or anything, and it's quite a difference. I mean, you'll see people sweeping the street over there that do a good job and look happy and do it well, and take pride in what they do. So it's quite a big difference to Western culture. Now, don't worry about food if you go there. There is no shortage of food. Food is everywhere, from vending machines to just restaurants as far as the eye can see. There's no problem finding food. There's also Western food as well, so if you're a bit difficult, I myself am a little bit difficult. I really don't like seafood all that much. I will eat fish and things like that, but certainly nothing with suckers on it that's going to stick to the roof of my mouth. Forget it, takoyaki is not happening. But there's certainly plenty of options, and they're quite reasonably priced as well. You can get quite cheap food, right up to, you know, high-end stuff, or some of the Western stuff can be a little bit more expensive. It's still, I highly recommend checking out even just some of the Western places, even if you go to McDonald's once or something and then do street food the rest of the time, whatever. It's just interesting to see the differences. You know, the fact that you can go in there and buy a container of corn, that's something I'd never imagined McDonald's would serve. So that's quite different. Now, the kids. I think we learned a little bit about the capabilities of kids. Bailey was much better, although he would get low energy at the end of the day. But it was a big ask to drag an 8-year-old around all over town all day. I cannot stress how important it is to carry some snacks, carry chocolate and things like that, and just keep their energy high if you need to keep them moving. There's nothing worse than trying to drag a moaning 8-year-old behind you everywhere you go. That's not to say that happened very much. She was excellent, she did very well, but I think we acknowledged partway through the trip that maybe we'd planned a lot and that it was a big ask for her. I know her energy levels and positivity was a lot higher if it was something we were doing for her, particularly Disneyland or something like that. So just bear in mind, if you're doing something that's a bit more cultural for you, like the art gallery, you may need a little bit of help there to get them around it and save your own sanity. I highly recommend Airbnb. Currently, when we were traveling through there, it's not legal in Japan. You're not going to be arrested and thrown away by the Gestapo or anything, I think. But it's kind of like the status was until recently in Australia with Uber, where it just kind of happens. And if it attracts the attention of things too much, then, you know, there could be problems. I believe when we came back, they're now talking about legalizing it, which I think is brilliant because it was fantastic. For a more authentic Japanese experience, I cannot stress how great it is to stay in somebody's house. It's really cool to live the way they live. They're not necessarily hugely spacious, or that you can pay more and get a bigger place. But you know, it's just nice to see how they live. I mean, some of the places we had the tatami mats. You know, you'd pull your bedroll out and put it on the floor, and you know, it was awesome. It was really good, and it's a good experience for the kids too. Also, one of the important things is hotels are really expensive there. So because we were traveling with 4 people, we just could not have afforded to stay in a hotel with 4 of us. It just wouldn't happen. So the Airbnb is a great alternative. Hang on, I am being disturbed by a small person. I'll just see what she was. And I'm back. Sorry for the interruption, although it's probably no interruption for you, but for me, she wants breakfast. I asked her to do it 2 hours ago, she didn't, but apparently now it's a priority because I'm doing this, so children, what do you do? Anyway, yes, the Airbnb, great. Very reasonable, we've got all the space, and I think the other thing that's quite handy too is you get access to services that you wouldn't necessarily get. So, I mean, we had a dryer, a washer dryer. I mean, I could probably pay someone a small fortune to do it while I was in a hotel, but it was just really helpful to be able to wash our own stuff whenever we wanted. We could dry it at night, no problem. So that was really helpful. Airbnb was fantastic. Oh, small tip. I know you're paying to stay there, but it's generally considered custom to leave a small gift or bring a small gift. So in our case, we left the ever popular Tim Tams behind for the owner with a little note when we left. All the owners have been quite happy so far, and they love Tim Tams. I don't know what it is. When I come over here, they buy those little chocolate cookies and you buy the truckload and ship them home. So, but yeah, something, you know, something even from home. You know, maybe something about the place you're from. They like that sort of thing too. I think they're particularly interested, for whatever inexplicable reason, in Western culture. So probably because it's quite different. One of the things that is very interesting to watch is their TV over there. We did notice their TV is very much all their own thing. I mean, we didn't see any Western stuff. We saw, I think one evening we turned on and they had Harry Potter dubbed in Japanese, which was an experience in itself, but you know, you don't get all the usual sort of stuff that we see. You get a lot of local programming and you know, bizarre game shows. We saw a guy where they put him in a van asleep, drove the van out into the middle of nowhere. The guy basically was asleep in the van, and then they versed him against a dog, where they put a bowl of food on the ground and told the dog to stay there for as long as it could. And I think they tried to see who would stay in the place for the longest. The man won after, the dog got up and left after 5 hours, I think. Didn't even touch the food, just went, screw you, I'm off. And the man woke up in the van, went outside, it was dark. And then, very Japanese, as he stepped out of the van, he touched the ground. They had dug a pit, covered it with grass, and he basically falls through this pit into a hole in the ground. Fantastic, brilliant, entertaining. I couldn't understand it, boy we laughed. The poor guy looked absolutely bewildered and everything. And so anyway, that's a lot of their programming. It's very different, and if you start to pick up on any of the language as well, it's quite interesting just to watch the TV, because you get snippets of things that you can understand, and then it's, you know, it starts to take on context and meaning and things like that. I wouldn't say my Japanese is fantastic, but I picked up more this time as well, so I think that was really good. I'm just hoping that gradually I get better. Karina's lived there before, so she's already got a level of Japanese ahead of the rest of us, which is helpful. But you know, you can fumble through. On that note, I guess too, communicating isn't so hard. A lot of the places will have, like the rail did have little cards where they have, you know, phrases on them in Japanese and English, and you just sort of point to them. If you get stuck, that's quite helpful. Restaurants have plastic replicas of the food, usually up front or in the window or whatever, or they have what they call a picture menu, where there's a picture and the writing and everything, and you just point to it. So that's quite easy. You can generally just fumble your way through it pretty well. So don't stress, it's not an insurmountable problem. It can be a little bit challenging sometimes. Don't get angry or frustrated with them, just be real patient, and sometimes it's just a case of, you know, you'll do that old travelling thing of trying to act it out, you know, beef, yeah. You'll get through it, it'll be fine, so don't stress. In conclusion, yeah, we're definitely going again. I think we'll definitely go and visit another part next time. We were handed some pamphlets for one of the other provinces, so I think we might go and check that out next time. Not sure if we'll take the kids yet, purely just because it's super expensive. I mean, it cost us a lot to take them. But I don't know, we'll see. Who knows what the future holds. Maybe we'll have a break and do something else first and then go back again. I don't know. I think Bailey's keen to go again, so we'll see, but by that point he might be working and have his own money, in which case it'll be a bit easier on my wallet. Yes. So I hope you enjoyed the videos. I hope you enjoyed coming along with us on our trip. I know we had a great time. Feel free to leave some comments below and smash the like button, and please do subscribe. I will be making more videos. I know what my next video is going to be about, and it's going to be a tough one. So tune in for that. That'll explain a little bit about why I've taken sort of a week off. Something fairly upsetting happened, but anyway, I'll explain it in the next one because I want to do it right. Yeah, feel free to leave some comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you for the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it.